Distinguished ministers, directors, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen. In 2010, people living in deprivation throughout Europe was between 40–50 million, including the 6 to 10 million Roma. Today this number is about 100–120 million, while Roma represent only 1/10 of it, and the rest are overwhelmingly the people with migrant background in mostly Western European ghettos and no-go zones, the minorities, often socially and economically oppressed, peasants and workers in Eastern Europe or in economic exile in Western Europe, and the newly arrived millions of migrants. They all face the same problems. They are with low skills, bad health, danger to become deviant, angry and hopeless, being racist or anti-racist. They are living in a very secure, insecure and segregated area, ill-conditioned living facilities, but most importantly without having access to work and any financial activities. Yet, even in the European anti-poverty actions, including the European frameworks for national Roma integration strategies, the expected results are still missing. There is no stable income for the poor and no good workforce for the companies. The European dream, prosperity, security, and united in diversity is not fulfilled yet, even though it would strengthen the European economy. Despite the allocation of the funds for projects and the efforts of different organizations working in this area, most mainstream programs, including those covered by the structural funds, failed to reach out to the most disadvantaged. Therefore, the situation of Roma has not been significantly improved, mainly because of the lack of holistic, comprehensive, well-designed, transparent, efficient, and well-monitored projects in the ground, poor engagement of the Roma communities and businesses, and structural anti-Gypsyism. I sincerely hope that today's conference will give the opportunity for the stakeholders, the Commission and the Member States also, to analyze what has gone wrong and what needs to be improved in the post-2020 strategy in order to reach its huge potential. It is without debate that the new post-2020 strategy needs to learn from the mistakes of the current strategy and to be developed with the improved, updated, comprehensive approach based on the findings of fieldwork-based monitoring and research into the Roma integration process of the last 20 years in the Member States. As you know, I'm an anthropologist with an academic research of 20 years around Europe in poor, rural and urban communities. I was the one who in 2010 proposed the EU Roma Framework Strategy aiming to economically, socially integrated the 40–50 million poor. And as I said back then, of which only 1/5 are Roma. In the last 2 years, I revisited the settlements and ghettos to learn what has changed and what change has been achieved. Let me go through the main elements of the framework, identifying the main issues and bringing forward possible solutions. The first one is on employment. According to statistics, since the height of the crisis in early 2013, 11 million jobs have been created within the EU. More men and women are employed than ever before. Unemployment is at a 9-year low, reaching 7.6% in the EU 28. Member states set national targets to increase employment rate to at least 75% by 2020. And given its today's rate, 71.1%, it is likely that the EU-wide target could be reached by 2020. According to these predictions, we could think that everything is ideal and Europe's labor market is in the very best form. However, if we look at closer, the picture is not that idyllic. While jobs created after the crisis were in higher paid engineering and management positions, and most jobs lost during and after the crisis were in mid-paid blue-collar production, mainly in industry and manufacturing, agriculture and construction, the sectors where most of the people with low-level education worked. What's more is that youth and long-term unemployment has remained at the same high. And this is what should bother us all. The millions of Roma living mostly in settlements in lagging regions do not prosper from the post-crisis situation. And the European Roma strategy did not bring the results we wished for in 2011, and which for the money was allocated already. It is not just about discrimination, even though this is a huge argument too, and my fellow MEP Soraya Prost wrote a nice, very great report on the perspectives of anti-Gypsyism and how the race directive should be strengthened. We have to include this aspect into the future Roma strategy too, just like the Western Balkan. Let me stick to the hard data now. Since 2010, Europe's working age population has started to shrink. By 2060, estimates suggest that there will be 30 million fewer people in the workforce. Therefore, it is inevitable that we make use of everyone's capability. We find the untapped talents and we find the capabilities among the Roma. What's more, according to the research, and this is one of the main economic reasons for the integration of the poor, it is still 5 times cheaper to integrate them than to keep the poor in dependent status. The new Roma strategy needs to focus on quality results and practice-oriented vocational and on-the-job training, individual counseling services, family services, social entrepreneurship, and first work experience programs, leadership and entrepreneurship training, startups, and economic incubator clusters. All this with the close cooperation with the businesses. Statistics also show that SMEs in the lagging regions have obstacles in lagging regional, as they are financed with much higher interest rates. As SMEs are responsible for the creation of 85% of the jobs, Commission and Member States should address this issue and ensure an easier access to credit in order to assist SMEs to encourage new business models. Furthermore, Member States should make all the necessary efforts to help lagging regions in order to enhance the capacity to retain and attract talent, adopt the new technologies, and stimulate new investments. Europe 2020 has a target of employability of 75%, which will be most likely met, as I said. We should include an employment target for the Roma too, to close the gap. We need to go local, involve businesses bearing in mind regional potentials and conditions, support productive and indigenous businesses activities specific to Roma, including circular economy, local energy transition, green economy, renewable energy, agriculture, manufactured products, as well as to promote family businesses and SMEs. The integration needs to be bottom-up, and major structural changes are inevitable. In education, in order to meet the challenges of the current labor market, we need to rethink education, training, and lifelong learning systems, with special focus on digital literacy, language learning, career development, early childhood development, decreasing the minimum age of crash, role of arts, computing, sport, with special attention to the excellent results reached by chess, for example. We need to stress the importance and the added value of second-chance education, adult learning, also calling for tailored support schemes, ensuring catching-up classes. Whatever form we take that improves the education of Roma, and this is the way that helps to ameliorate the skills and employability, it is already a great success. As research shows, early childhood development is one of the most important things in order to ensure that we do not lose the children. The best is to combine economic, digital and educational integration, starting already with early childhood development and a very strong support for each and every family. According to the predictions in 2016, 70 million Europeans, which is approximately 14% of the EU population, lacked adequate reading and writing skills, and even more had poor numeracy skills. Furthermore, 34% of European citizens do not have the basic digital skills necessary to fulfill the simplest set of tasks in the technology-rich environment. Let me emphasize the crucial role of digitalization. As regards technological change and digitalization, these are likely to affect low-qualified workers as well, the most actually, as their jobs tend to be at the higher risk of automobility. They are also more likely to encounter a higher degree of difficulty in adjusting to changing jobs, and thus due to technological innovations. What's more, technological change is expected to generate new and more productive jobs in Europe. Accessing these jobs will largely depend on skills and on wider conditions that enable and facilitate men and women to take on and keep a job. Therefore, we need to reform our education system and also lifelong learning to upskill the neglected labor force. And if we do not do this, and we do not do the necessary changes, it will be harder and harder as the years pass by. My third point is in health. According to statistics, the Roma has, in average, a poorer health, much higher chance for all cancers and all illnesses. Sometimes this amount is 5 times higher. In housing, we need a territorial approach, create job opportunities and services near the settlements. We have to solve the issues of access to public utilities, water, electricity, gas, and infrastructure for housing in compliance with the national legal requirements. We also have to think about selective waste collection on settlements, digital opportunities once again, and integral housing. Desegregating these settlements, bringing them closer virtually to the big cities. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of deep and profound quality monitoring. Reliable, up-to-date, and disaggregated figures and statistics are important for well-informed, more transparent, impartial, and fairer political decisions. The post-2020 strategy needs to reflect these new developments and trends. It needs to be holistic and comprehensive, involving all relevant sectors and stakeholders, in particular the Roma, the poor, and the businesses. As the last year has shown, partial solutions are not working, though we had many in the last years, and thank you for your work on this. As we all know, the race directive needs to be efficiently implemented and applied. I believe that for the sake of millions of Roma, we can make a better strategy that will finally make a real difference. So from now on, I urge you all to help our job in the European Parliament to draft the best possible report on which the Commission can rely on and the European Council can adopt. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you a very fruitful conference. Have a good day.